This week, maybe you've seen videos about the horribly scary digital creature, Huggy Wuggy. It's from the 12 Plus app Poppy Playtime, and it went viral in TikTok videos, and now it's everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on Discord, there's Huggy Wuggy porn, and it's on YouTube Kids. From a parenting perspective, I want to make sure we get a couple of things right. Number one, TikTok continues to corrode and corrupt our culture. It was true before Huggy Wuggy. It's going to be true after Huggy Wuggy. Number two, YouTube, Discord, and TikTok are not apps made for kids. It was true before Huggy Wuggy. It's going to be true after Huggy Wuggy. Even with YouTube Kids on age 2, you can find this stuff and the gender unicorn and 50 videos about queer kids stuff. It's not meant to be used unsupervised. And then number 3, chat it out. Don't freak out. 6 months ago, it was Squid Game. Tomorrow, it's going to be something else. Parents, if we get this wrong, our kids are not only going to be afraid of the thing, they're also going to be afraid of us. Don't freak out.
Digital anchor Luke Laster here from the Wood TV live desk. Huggy Wuggy is the character of discussion this morning. That was Chris McKenna of Protect Young Eyes. That's the character. Huggy Wuggy's raising some concerns and some red flags with parents here. Joining me this morning, Daybreak anchor Teresa Weekly. She was on this story here. Teresa, what did we just hear from Chris there? And tell us a little bit about Huggy Wuggy and the video game that he is associated with.
So let's start with Huggy Wuggy.
Yes.
I first heard about this a few weeks ago from my first grade son, and he sounds innocuous, right? Like, oh, what's this Huggy Wuggy? You know, kids are giving each other hugs on the playground. Didn't sound like a big deal. And then to find out, like, oh no, this is a character, and he kills you and puts you until the eats you. And when you see him, which you will in a minute here in this video, he is very scary looking. He's blue and has these sharp teeth. There he is. He has like a double mouth with fangs, and so the kids are all talking about him on the playground. And the video game itself was originally released as being for 8+, and now it's listed as 12+. So there's that. And originally when it came out, it was a PC format, but then in March it came out in the App Store and Google Play Store, and that's where the listing now says 12+. But there's a trickle-down effect because of how popular it is. All these different fans are making other videos, spin-off videos that are on YouTube, TikTok videos, and that's how it's kind of trickling down into what our kids are seeing, whether it's on YouTube Kids. And some of the versions of him from fans are not particularly scary, but kids know who he is and what he does. So that's where the scary factor comes in. And I mean, I've known kids who have had nightmares because of it. So Chris McKenna with Protect Young Eyes, Protect Young Eyes is an organization that he helped found. He was the founder to create safe digital spaces for kids. And one of his messages is really that TikTok and YouTube were not apps that were made for kids. And he says that as a parent, you need to keep that in mind, that they were not made for kids, so your kids are bound to encounter things on there that are also not necessarily intended for kids. Another one of his messages in that reel that he shared on Instagram is that, specifically about Huggy Wuggy, he said, don't freak out, and to talk instead of freaking out, because if you show your kids that you're going to freak out about it instead of just calmly talking to them about it, then they may not be willing to talk to you when something scary does come up.
It seems something kind of seemingly harmless at first until it gets that second layer of teeth.
It's the teeth, right?
So this is a video game?
It's a video game. Poppy Playtime is the name of the video game. Mob Games is the company that created it. And like I said, it came out initially on PC, very popular, so now you can download it on iOS and Google Play. And this is video from Chapter 1 of the game. Chapter 2 just came out in the last week. The other news with Poppy Playtime is the game company announced, the CEO of the company announced last week, Thursday I think, that they're in works with Studio 71 to make a feature film called Poppy Playtime, a horror film.
Gotcha.
So this character's not going anywhere. Now that's also not going to be intended for kids, but it might mean they continue to hear more about him. I mean, if your kids play Roblox, you know how you can build characters in there. He's showed up there. Actually, when I was going on Instagram to post about this, there are emoji like Huggy Wuggy icons that you can pull up.
So it's pretty popular then too.
Yeah.
So who did you speak with here in the story? You spoke with a child therapist, right?
Yes, Hannah Reed is her name. She's with Wedgwood Christian Services, and she has worked with younger children. She also works with teenagers. But what she talked about kind of echoed a little bit about what Chris McKenna said in terms of having an open line of communication with your kids. And that's like the best thing to do, because she also said that, you know, they are going to encounter these things. And so you want them to come to you to talk about it so that you know what it is they're encountering. But she does see the problem with Huggy Wuggy. The fact that this character who's, you know, they don't necessarily have a full context for what he does, but they're imitating some of the more problematic behaviors, and kids have a really active imagination. And she said, you know, giving the monster under their bed a name and a face, and then turning hugs into something that they're supposed to be comforting, and he turns them into something that's bad and scary and dangerous. And she said that can be problematic.
What was the biggest takeaway that you found with learning more about this video game character?
It is just the latest thing, and there's going to be another Huggy Wuggy or whatever it is. The next thing is going to be what Hannah Reed said, the child therapist. I thought was really important is your child may not be scared, but if they are, whatever the conversation is about, validating how they feel about whatever it is, as opposed to telling them, oh, don't be worried, it's not real. She said telling them something like, oh, it's not real, can just create this wedge between you and your child and minimizing their feelings, and then maybe they'll think, oh, I can't go to mom or dad to talk about this because they'll just think I'm being silly, or they're not going to believe me. So instead, like in this case, for a character like Huggy Wuggy, she said, okay, maybe just approach them with curiosity. Oh, yeah, that sounds really scary. I can see why you would be scared. Tell me, what do you think is scary about him? And trying to understand what it is that has them feeling the way that they feel, and maybe just do some extra investigations around under the bed and in the closet if that's what they need, until they feel more comfortable.
Teresa, anything else that you'd like to add?
It's just
in terms of Huggy Wuggy.
Well, it sounds funny, doesn't it? Huggy Wuggy.
Yeah.
Actually, when I first heard about this, it made me think of that old rhyme, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy.
I wonder if it is some kind of inspiration there with that name, because that is, those parallels are definitely there.
But people, when I've talked about this, and as I've been working on this story, have kind of laughed like, oh, Huggy Wuggy, because it sounds so harmless, but yeah.
Very serious thing.
I think it's a good lesson in realizing what your kids are exposed to, even if you have all the parental settings on their tablets and whatnot, that somehow this stuff does still trickle down. And, you know, in my case, I talked to my son about this because he's the first person I heard about it from, but then I started hearing other parents going, oh my gosh, my son had a nightmare. And
jeez.
So my son wasn't affected in that way, but just hearing him talk about it and how much he knew about this character, even though he's never played the video game, never even seen the video game, but he knew all about who Huggy Wuggy is. So you think that you're keeping them from something, but these things do have a way of bleeding into their lives, even if they're not seeing the source, you know?
Right.
So it's definitely, for me, that was kind of eye-opening.
Teresa, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, attached to this stream is the story. It takes you over to woodtv.com. Huggy Wuggy, child experts warn about video game character, that is live now on woodtv.com. This has been a look at the Wood TV Live Desk. I'm News 8 digital anchor Luke Laster. Have a great afternoon, folks. We'll see you around.